Hey guys, Mike Rivers with the Rivers Group at Compass Real Estate. I am a Boston area real estate advisor, and in this video, going to be diving into how the verdict of this Sitzer Burnett case is going to impact you as a home buyer or home seller. Now, to put this very simply, I'm not going to dive too deep into the details about this case and what it was about, but basically a jury found that the NAR, or National Association of Realtors, and several large brokerages basically conspired to inflate commissions for sellers that wanted to list their homes on the multiple listing service by making it mandatory that they also provide a commission for the buyer's agents that are bringing buyers to the table for those transactions. So because the jury found in favor of the plaintiff home sellers in this case, that means that in addition to the nearly $1.8 billion settlement that is going to be awarded to those sellers, it means that from a national standpoint, it is no longer going to be mandatory for a seller who is listing their home on the multiple listing service that they be required to provide a buyer's agent's commission out of their home sale proceeds. So I want to preface the remainder of this video by providing a little bit of context about the overall sentiment about real estate agents. People, for the most part, think real estate agents are overpaid, underqualified asshats, and in my opinion, it's not completely without merit. It is a very low barrier to entry to be a real estate agent. I did it myself. It's a 40-hour class, and you have to pass a pretty simple test at the end of that course. And from there, you are given your license to buy and sell or help people buy and sell any volume of real estate that you can. By comparison, you need 1,000 hours to become a barber and cut hair. So 40 hours to sell most people's most valuable asset, 1,000 hours to cut their hair. So that just goes to show you how kind of crazy it is as far as the barrier to entry to become a real estate agent. Now that said, we do have this population of buyers out there who, instead of vetting and researching a great buyer's agent to work with to get them to their goals, they go and work with their cousin's best friend's hairdresser because they just don't know anyone else, and technically they don't have to pay the real estate agent commission, so anyone that they just talk to and like is good enough for them. So we do have a population of buyers that are doing that. And in addition to that, we have this population of sellers who are doing whatever they can to just work with the cheapest possible listing agent because it's easier for them to see the money that they are potentially saving by working with a discount agent instead of looking at the money that they are potentially leaving on the table or the headaches that they're likely to run into by using a discount or part-time agent. So that kind of combination of elements just creates this disastrous recipe for people's experience working with real estate agents and why real estate agents are so hated in the market today. So with all that said, it is pretty common to see a 5 to 6% total commission for a real estate transaction, and that number is split between the seller's agent and the buyer's agent, at least traditionally. Now, that money is typically deducted from the seller's proceeds. But that money isn't coming from imagination land. It's actually coming from the buyer who is coming to the table with that money. And it's usually only possible because that buyer got a mortgage loan to purchase that property. Now, how does this verdict actually impact sellers? Now, first of all, they have the opportunity to save on commissions here. And many sellers are going to look at it like they have the ability to save 50% on commissions because they no longer are required to pay the buyer's agent's commissions out of the seller's proceeds. So they only have to worry about paying their listing agent's commission out of the proceeds that they're getting for their home. Now, the key word here is opportunity. They have the opportunity to save on commissions here, but that in no way means guarantee, and they are pretty damn far from guaranteeing that they are walking away with more money in this case. One important thing for sellers to remember here if they choose not to offer a buyer's agent commission is that they're going to be marketing their home to fewer buyers. What happens if they don't pay the commission and buyers still want to be represented is that those buyers are going to be forced to pay that commission, and they cannot leverage their mortgage to do so. So that means they have to pay that commission out of pocket in addition to their down payment, in addition to their closing costs, so that basically they're going to have that 2 or 3% less buying power to give the sellers for their home. So really nothing is changing for sellers who sell their home to a represented buyer. It's just that the money is being deducted before the offer is made instead of after the seller gets the proceeds for the sale. Oh, but that just means that the buyers don't have to use representation and they can come and purchase the house without using an agent to represent them. Well, in Massachusetts, they can do that anyway. But it turns out when people are making the largest financial investment of their entire lives, they actually want someone in their corner going to bat for them and making sure they don't get screwed out of a ton of money.
You said this was a one bedroom.
It is, in the sense that it's a one bed room.
So especially in a buyer beware state like Massachusetts, where the sellers don't even have to disclose that the home is falling down around them if they don't want to. So it's no surprise that buyers, especially in Massachusetts and other buyer beware states, want to actually bring representation to the table and not have to come out of pocket for it. And listing agents honestly do not want to see a buyer show up unrepresented. That usually means that that listing agent is going to be expected to do twice as much work to keep the transaction together, because now they have to coordinate everything on the buyer's side of the transaction, because guess what? The buyers don't know how to do that. So it turns out that dealing with a home sale on each side of a transaction is actually a little bit more complicated than selling a used guitar on Craigslist, contrary to what many people think. Transactions fall apart every single day for any number of reasons when there are qualified agents on either side of the transaction. So when you only have one agent representing one side of the transaction, the likelihood that that transaction falls apart drastically increases. Having a sale fall apart after 2 months and having to relist the home is just going to cost the seller time and money. First of all, they still have to pay the carrying cost for that home. And second of all, when they relist that home, the first question that buyers out there that saw that home initially are going to ask is, I wonder what the hell is wrong with that home, because it went under contract 2 months ago and now it's back on the market. Something must be wrong with that property. So those are definitely a few things to think about when you're looking at how this verdict is going to impact you as a home seller. Now let's get into how it's going to affect buyers out there. So how does this verdict affect me as a home buyer? Well, for those homes that are still offering a buyer's agent commission, you don't have to worry about paying that out of pocket. The seller is going to take care of that out of the proceeds. The proceeds are, of course, coming from the mortgage loan that you are getting and paying for that property. So the money is not coming from, again, nowhere. The seller is getting it from you because you're paying it from your mortgage loan. For homes that do not offer a buyer's agent commission, you have a few options as a home buyer. Obviously, you can decide to pay that commission yourself out of your own pocket, but since people can't normally magically increase their budget, that's obviously going to affect your purchase power in actually getting an offer accepted on a home. Your second option here is to go it alone, unrepresented, in what is likely the largest financial investment you've ever made. Not something I would recommend, as transactions can fall apart for any of 1,000 different reasons, and you could actually be putting your deposits at risk. The final option here is to actually try to negotiate that buyer's agent's commission into the offer under additional provisions. If the seller's still getting the price point they want for their home, you're still able to get the buyer's agent commission covered by the mortgage. Everybody can win in that scenario. So I think the verdict is going to do a handful of things here. And I think it's really going to produce agents that are really able to communicate their value to their clients, more so than anything, especially in the case of buyers, where buyers are starting to see the fact that they might have to pay these commissions out of their own pocket, where before it technically came from the sellers, they're going to start saying, listen, I need to figure out exactly what I'm looking for in a buyer's agent and figure out how they're going to provide me some value here through this home search process, through the transaction process, and beyond. If you guys want a little bit more details about that, I did post a video about what to look for in a buyer's agent and how to find them, so feel free to check that out. And it is up to those real estate agents out there to effectively illustrate and communicate their value to their clients and actually follow through with it. At the end of the day, I'm hoping we end up with a marketplace full of real estate agents that actually have their shit together, because it's only going to make my life easier. But anyway, I hope this video helped you understand what that verdict means for you as a home buyer or a home seller. If you have further questions about it, feel free to shoot me a text at the number below. Let me know how I can help you in any of your real estate needs. And thank you guys for watching the video.